Okay. Okay. Welcome. This is the Park and Recs Committee meeting for the month of March, March 27th. So we'll do a roll call here. I'll start with Jeanette.
Mary Larson.
Larry Schultz. So welcome everybody that might be viewing online. And our guest here, we have two guests who are going to be new members of our committee. And maybe we'll just have you introduce yourself quickly.
Sure, Greg McCurry.
Okay.
Amanda Cahill.
Okay. Well, we look forward to having you join us next month. And thanks for coming this evening. So first on the agenda, can I see your thing? My thing went out here. Thank you. First on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our meeting on January 18th. Has everybody had a chance to review those? If so, is there a motion?
I move to approve the meeting minutes.
Okay, motion's been made by Claudio,
I second.
seconded by Jeanette. Any questions or discussion? Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the meetings of the January 18th, 2023 meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same side. Motion carried. Any petitions, proclamations, suggestions, complaints from citizens or members of the committee? Hearing none, we'll move on to the old business. We have the Park and Recreation Department work plan discussion, so if you want to take that away.
Sure, thank you. Good evening, everybody. At the last meeting, we brought forth the proposed work plan for 2023, and I think everybody had a chance to review it. So generally speaking, what we do is we will recommend adoption of the work plan, and then it will go to City Council for their review and approval. And I believe that meeting is scheduled for April 10th. Just some of the highlights for this year. Lakeside States Park Phase 2 construction, finishing up the pickleball courts out at the rec center, the trail construction along Bavaria Boulevard and the Greencrest sidewalk, the skate park relocation, and then a new one that I don't know if we ended up on the plan last month was the roof rehabilitation at the recreation center. It's 20 years old, so we are working with the school district on the replacement of that roof. We hope to have quotes back in April with the work scheduled to be completed in August, September, if all goes well. So then the updated 3-year EAB management plan, and then we have rolled out our VicFit program. It's our fitness program last year that we will be continuing on. And then special events. Hi, Dawn.
Sorry about being late.
That's okay. And then our usual special events and recreation program implementation for 2023. So unless anybody has any questions or wants to add anything, the proposed motion is before you for consideration.
Ann, I was just going to ask, the roof replacement, that wasn't on anything before, but obviously I've been in the rec center and I see the drips, all the buckets everywhere.
Yes.
So it's just that's an example of one of the things that wasn't in the plan, but actually moved up into because of the dire straits of the roof and the necessity to repair
It's
it.
a lot cheaper to buy more buckets.
Yeah. It would be. It's not real becoming, though.
Yeah.
So yes, it was, I think, out in 25. But yeah, this winter has been brutal on that flat roof. So yes, we have moved it up into our plan for this year.
Okay.
Does the funds for that impact any other programs?
No, we've got a fund balance within the rec center operating, so we will be okay. Doesn't impact our normal operations.
Can you go back to the last page, please? Okay. I noticed the work plan, and every year we review this, and I know there's quite a bit of discussion at the last meeting as to what would surface on this, and it's, I think the list that we've all agreed on. The only thing that I have to suggest is, I think we can approve this evening, but I think it would be helpful and might be good for us also to submit to the city council is not only that we're going to work on it, but more specific goal. When we hope to have it done by, how we're going to measure if we've accomplished what we want to accomplish on some of these things. And maybe you have that. Maybe it's something you do internally. But I always think that when you have goals, if we're more specific, then it's easy to be accountable to the council and say, here's what we set out to do. Here's specifically what we intended by what time, and leaves less room for people to be critical that something didn't get accomplished if we have it down and we actually can point to something a little more concrete. And some of the things are a little harder to do that with, I understand, but might be helpful if we do that.
Okay, and that's something we certainly can lay out. The city council strategic plan, and maybe I can bring that back and show you, it really lays out those timeframes and I think what you're more so looking at. So
Yeah.
I know I've brought that before, you guys before, but I can you can send that back out to you so you can take a look.
Yeah, it would be just nice to have that in front of us. So.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for putting this all together. It's a good summary here. Other questions for Ann or comments, concerns? Not a motion would be in order.
I recommend the adoption of the 2023 Parks and Recreation Department work plan and submit it to the city council for approval.
Okay, a motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made by Jeanette, seconded by Mary to recommend the adoption of the 2023 Park and Recreation Department work plan and submit it to the city council for their approval. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carried. Okay, thank you. Next item is the Lakeside Estates Park Phase 2 update.
Sure, we have, obviously you guys have been working on this for a number of months now, and I wanted to bring back the final set of plans. We have moved these plans and authorization to bid forward already with the council. So I just wanted to provide you an update of the final park plan and so the parking lot, trail connections to the existing park, and then that ball field open space area that you guys have seen prior to, and then just a little bit closer update of the parking lot and then the ball field adjacent to it. So we are moving forward with that. The bids are due back to the city on April 6th. We'll be seeking city council approval on May 10th or April 10th, as long as the estimates or the bids come in as scheduled. We do have an engineer's estimate of about $252,600 with a budget of $350,000. So the one thing we are waiting on is the watershed district. Final review is still pending. The initial review by them with the like the 60% plans was that we were not going to need any stormwater management on the site. With the final plans, they are still reviewing that to determine if that still holds. So this project is moving forward, and I am seeking no action from you this evening, but happy to answer any questions that you may have about the project.
Any questions?
No questions.
Was there anything, I can't remember if there's anything in the bid documents that indicated when we'd like to have this completed by, or was it?
If all goes well, it'll be done before the end of fall.
Okay, all right,
Weather contingent.
right.
And no more input from the neighborhood. I know when you surveyed them, didn't get a huge response from the neighborhood, but
Yep, nope,
still okay with it.
yep, moving forward with the plan as is, so.
Okay. I guess we don't need any action on that, is that correct? Okay, new business, the Park and Rec Department annual report for last year.
Sure. So each year, we try to put together a fairly comprehensive annual report that looks at the parks and trails, the recreation center, and then also the recreation programs. So just to kind of highlight some of those areas and items that we did accomplish last year. We rehabilitated both the tennis court and the tennis court and basketball court at Lions Park. We completed the 3-year EAB management program with the treatment of 800 plus trees, parks and street trees. The Swiss Mountain Playground was replaced. We did publish a new parks and trails map. We started the outdoor pickleball court construction. Again, a project that kind of moved up the ranks through our priority ranking for the CIP. And then also our 45 community gardens were rented as well. Just kind of give you an update on the recreation center, on the memberships. As of the end of the year, we had 1,659 members, and it kind of gives you a comparison looking back to 21 and 19. 20 obviously was an anomaly with COVID and the shutdown, so we did not even include that number. So we continued, and 21 was a challenge as well, but we are ahead of our 2019 numbers. Especially our senior members are coming back again, which that had been traditionally low throughout 21.
Stubborn group.
Pardon?
They're a stubborn group.
So we're seeing a lot of our older adults come back now, so that's a good thing. So we had 65,954 check-ins throughout the year, which is up from previous years as well. The Lions Park Pavilion, we had 278 internal and external reservations in 22, and considering that 365 days is a year, we had a lot of activity going on in the Lions Pavilion, both internal and external. And we do again this year have May, June, and July, and a lot of August already rented out. So we continue to see a lot of use of that facility, which is great. So,
And can you explain the internal and external reservations?
so a lot of times a city function will occur, or the Red Cross and the Lions will have an event, or the Red Cross blood drive and the fire department.
Oh, okay.
We will have a class, the rec department will have a class there.
Oh, okay, okay.
So that's the internal, where we don't charge a fee
Okay.
for the use of it.
I've got a question. In 2018, the revenue was really low. Was that a new thing to start really charging for reservations?
That was the first year that we went online, and it didn't open until fall of 2018. So we didn't start taking reservations until after it was opened.
So are you saying it was constructed in 2018?
Yes,
Oh, how nice.
yes. Yep, that was the remodel year.
Very good.
Any idea what the split is between internal and external?
Without knowing exactly, I know we have a lot more rentals than internal.
Okay, that's good enough.
I can certainly bring that back, though.
And I have one question, kind of
Sure.
a couple of slides back. We talked about publishing a new trails map. Where are those located?
So I think there's some probably up here. I know we have them at the front desk at the rec center. And I'm guessing there's new ones out here too.
Have we publicized that in any way?
You know, I don't know if we have it on social media or on our website or not, I'm not sure.
That might be a nice thing. to
Yeah.
do. Thank you.
So last year, moving into recreation programs and special events, we had 161 programs offered throughout the year with nearly 4,000 participants. We had 18 free community events, and that included our concerts in the park, movies in the park, the pop-up splash pad, our truck rodeo, things like that. And then it was our first year of offering our Wonders of Wasserman Camp with our new park out at Wasserman, and that filled up. We collected 10,000, almost 10.5 in sponsorships, which is up significantly from years prior. And then we also had about 4,200 fitness class participants last year as well. And that's just kind of the high points. You have a copy of the total annual report, and happy to certainly answer any questions about it or comments or thoughts about it.
Questions for Ann? I have one on Wasserman. Is that area being rented
Yes.
quite extensively now, or not?
It's getting to be more heavily used. I wouldn't say it's significant. A lot of people just go there
Okay.
and use it on a first come, first served basis. There is a chart. It doesn't have Wasserman specifically laid out in here, but you can see the neighborhood park shelter rentals. We
That's-
don't get a lot of them, but I can certainly bring that back too.
And I know at a previous meeting, you had indicated that we had to close the restrooms
Yes.
there because of vandalism. Has there been any resolution of that yet?
Not yet, so we have not opened them yet. And it's likely that any reservation they'll have to come in and get keys for it.
Okay, but they do have access to it. if they
Yes.
want.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other thank you. Any other questions for Ann? All right, moving right along. Oh, we have to accept this. So is there a motion?
I would make a motion to accept the 2022 Parks and Rec Department's annual report.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Don, seconded by Jeanette to accept the 2022 Parks and Recreation Department Annual Report. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, next item is the National Fitness Campaign for Outdoor Fitness Court.
So recently, the city was approached by the National Fitness Campaign. It is a for-profit organization that partners with local entities within a state. And within Minnesota, they have partnered with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota. And their goal is to provide expertise and some funding for communities, schools, other organizations to construct and build these outdoor fitness courts. So they had in Minnesota, in 2023, they are hoping to partner with 10 entities, communities, to help build these fitness courts. And they're really geared towards people of all ages, all abilities, that provide fitness workout for basically everyone. So we looked at 2023, and obviously we have pretty well set our capital program and our work plan for this year, and to be able to turn around in '23 was going to be really challenging. But they will also be having grants available for 2024. That's why I'm bringing it to you guys for discussion on whether or not this would be a good fit for our community or not. So I'll quickly kind of run through what the court is, and it's about a 38 by 38 pad. It's a concrete pad, and they use rubberized tiles, as you can see in this photograph. And then they have stations for 7 different, basically full body workout within that circuit, I'll call it. It also has an application that is used through your smartphone that changes, so it changes your workouts within those 7 body movements. So just kind of another photo of the types of activities that this facility offers. There is also an arts component to it, that a local artist has been selected within the community to provide the art that would go on this facility. And that's kind of where Blue Cross Blue Shield comes in, interesting enough, is that they provide that grant for that artist to do the work on it. So it's kind of a neat component when you look at the whole project. So, and I'll get to the total funding at the end, but so the National Fitness Campaign, their work, which they do, all the ordering of the equipment, they help you set up this and build this court, and then they have grants available with Blue Cross Blue Shield, and those grants vary from 30 to 50,000. And what that criteria is, I'm not even really sure at this point in time. But then Blue Cross Blue Shield also throws in a $25,000 artist grant. So you're looking kind of at a cost of about 105 to 125,000. And then the city also then has to construct the concrete slab, and then also pay for the installation of the equipment. So if you take out that art component to it, you're looking at the low end of about 130,000, and then on the high end, without knowing today's concrete prices, you're looking at the high end of about 170,000 for the installation of a fitness court like this. Coming in 2024 is what they're calling the Fitness Court Studio. It's basically a mirror image of the fitness court without the equipment on it, but they use it for fitness classes, art programs, dance, different types of fitness programs that folks can use. So then it ends up being, and I'm good at terrible at math right now, but multiply 38 by 38. But so you get the idea.
Just adjacent to each other.
Yeah, so that, it's the, flip side, and they just kind of complement each other, I'll say. So with that, the additional funding for that is another, I'll just say 50,000 to 60,000, based on what the concrete slab costs are or would be at that point in time. So looking at the overall funding, it kind of gives you a picture of what just a fitness court would be. Again, that 130 to 135 to 170. And then with the fitness studio, about 185 to 220,000. And those both do include that $30,000 to $50,000 grant from the National Fitness Campaign and then Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota. So I wanted to bring this up to you. We had a presentation from the National Fitness Campaign about it because they are looking for, again, 10 entities in 23 and then another 10 in 24 that would participate in this. Their goal is to build them all over the country. And I think they've got 400 out there right now throughout the country. So it's just a way, it's a way for, communities, healthy communities. So I just wanted to bring it forward to see if there was any thoughts, any interest in pursuing. There's a couple things that will go along with this. If we were to pursue it, we'd have to look at a location. And those are always a little challenging. They like to have them out visible in the community, so at a larger community park or one that gets a little more traffic. And then the second thing, obviously, is we don't have this in the CIP, so we'd be looking at having to make some adjustments or arrangements within that capital program if it was something that you guys thought was worth pursuing or a good idea. So
It would be CIP, it wouldn't be taken away from the trail fund.
no, it would be the Parks Capital Plan.
And the surface, is that a sports court?
Yes, sport court type surface, yep.
So how many do they have like in the Midwest? I mean, like,
It's a good question.
it almost feels like if you do it indoors, it would be a real exciting kind of thing. Sports courts get slippery and then snowy.
I did check out their website. There's one in Waite Park, which is outside of
yeah.
St. Cloud. There's one coming to Wilmer, and there's one at a technical college in Worthington. Those are the only three in Minnesota so far.
Mary, are they already in existence or just?
Two are in existence, and one is coming soon. The Wilmer one says it's coming soon. And there's a couple in Wisconsin. There's a couple in Illinois. There's really not very many in the Midwest.
Yeah, I think like this fitness, National Fitness Campaign, they're located out in California, I think San Francisco. And I think that's where they started, and they're kind of pushing, starting from west and heading east, so,
So it wouldn't be difficult to even contact those sites to
no.
just see would they do it again?
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
Is it that would be my question is, what kind of use would it get? If it's gonna be used, I think it would be great. I don't know that people would use it in the winter. I think it's probably a summer activity. It's nice to be outside. I know in some communities I've lived in, they've had things outside that did get used, not as extensive as this looks, but in a circuit training around a lake with stations and different things that people used when they went on a walk and did their exercise and things, and actually got quite a bit of use. I'm not sure here if anybody has a feeling if something like this would be utilized or.
That's $1 million question, I think.
Well, my first reaction was, in Minnesota, it's gonna be covered by snow most of the time, for at least 50% of the time. And the other thing, in Victoria, we're having trouble trying to get the skate park where we want it, and I'm going, where would we get the room? But I would definitely like to see how it's working, in some other locations, like by St. Cloud or.
And we may
if
be
it's in
surprised.
use.
They may say, hey, we sweep it off and people come.
Yeah.
Or, oh my goodness, it's buried under snow, we don't even know where it's at.
Yeah.
Two extremes, I guess.
My other concern was in competition with the rec center. I mean, because I know they've done yoga class, they've done fitness classes outside already, you know, without a sport court. And, that would be my other concern, would it be in competition with the rec center?
That's a good point.
I think it's a really interesting concept. You know, we just talked about the completion of this, you know, the Lakeside Park, and that's, which is primarily a parking lot plus a ball field, and that was $250,000. So if you talk about everything that's available with this design, you're getting a lot for the community. You know, really, I think it kind of depends on, you know, location would be the big thing, and budget is the other. You know, if it's, I don't know if there's any moving parts, you know, or weightlifting, you know, that, I mean, that could be, I don't know how they would do that and make it weather resistant, but, you know, if you're concerned about, yeah, I mean, we live in a place where everybody is looking for fitness year round because, I mean, we live with snow. And so any of our outdoor parks are gonna have snow, in the wintertime. But I like the concept of it. I think it's really interesting. I think I can imagine it if there were a spot to nestle it along the path down here, you know, maybe tuck it away someplace. I could see a lot of people using it. I mean, location is a thing. Finding a spot in the budget is another thing. But I also like the idea of Blue Cross Blue Shield sponsoring a local artist by providing the funding for that.
So we probably have several questions that I hear people bringing up. One is this something that would generate interest in the community? That's one issue. Second issue is, you know, how often would it get used because of the seasonality of our climate? Third would be, you know, if this is something that would be of interest, where does it fit with the other things that are on the CIP? Does it rise to the top? Does it fall to the bottom? Is it somewhere in between? And probably another one is if we answer those in a certain way and we get to the point where it is, where would you put it? And you know, that's probably farther down the path, but it's an important question. The other question is this something, if we wouldn't get a grant, if it would rise to the top, is this something we would want to do and spend even more than what would be our share? Which also begs the question, is there something similar that some other company provides or sells that would be comparable, that might be cheaper? So a lot of those are the issues I think I heard along the way here.
I would think keeping it on the table though to discuss probably makes some sense. Looking at this construction, coming from California, you know, I don't know what special requirements and we need to take, like for regular playground equipment outdoors, if this is built with this climate in consideration.
Yeah, because one question I had was just even the lifespan of this equipment, you know, how long would it last, would it need to be replaced, you know, kind of a thing. So if it has a lifespan of 10 years and you've got to upgrade some of the equipment, then you're talking about another thing to add to our plan ongoing, maintenance of it.
Yeah, I see some of this stuff looks like it could last forever, and then other that could maybe fall apart in 6 months.
Probably another issue, and probably just need more information and research and maybe contacting some of the places. Thanks, Mary, for
Yeah.
checking on that. You know, checking with them and just seeing what some of the thought process they had with some of the, is it being used, what are the issues, what do they like about it, what do they wish was different.
Yeah.
I think liability would be another question when you have freestanding equipment out there.
Yeah.
If somebody would get injured not using it properly, or what liability, what risk is there for the city? So another question is, if this is something that we decided to recommend to the city council for 2024, what timeline is there for the grant application?
So the expected grant application timeframe for the 24, they were talking about those grants coming out in like May, June. So we'd have a little bit of time
Okay,
to get a lot of this information and then bring it back to the committee,
okay.
like next month.
Once you get the grant, you have to keep, I mean, do you have to go forward or can you
I
refuse it?
suspect that there are avenues to get out of it.
Okay,
If we couldn't find a location appropriate, they wouldn't give it to us if we couldn't handle, I think, or they wouldn't even confirm that we would be eligible for the grant if we didn't meet all the criteria that they would,
And a strong interest.
yeah, and location, financing.
Do we need to have a better idea of where we would put it before we even pursue it? Because if we don't even have a place to put it, why would we even pursue it?
One of the spots in our initial discussions was, again, within Lions Park, but it would be kind of by the Lions Pavilion over on the other side of the oak trees where the new housing development went in. There's enough space in there, but it'd be something that I'd want to certainly talk to the neighbors about if that was a site selection. Another site might be Madeline Creek Park in that open area, adjacent to the basketball court, in that kind of that open field area would be another, I think, good spot for it. The nice thing is it's only 38 by 38, which isn't huge, where, the skate park is twice this, if not, probably twice the size of this. So, at least it's a little bit smaller to navigate into a space, but yet I think there's still certainly
Options.
it's something that we'd have to look at to try to figure out where best it would go.
Is there any place at the rec center that you could squeeze this onto, or no?
We're kind of squeezed out there. We are squeezed for space out there.
I did poll a few people, just kind of get reactions. I polled my personal trainer, who works with a lot of people who like to work out, right? And I asked her, and she thought, again, this is somebody who likes to work out, thought this would be a great idea. She thought having it near the rec center would be a great location. She also said location would be huge as far as, how successful it's going to be. So, and then I polled my kids. My 29-year-old son said if it was at a place where there was a park facility where my kids could play while I was working out kind of thing, I could totally see doing it. My daughter said, no way. No. Who right now is working out at an Anytime Fitness. So I was kind of like, okay. But she's like, no, if I'm going to be outside, I'm going to be doing something fun. I'm not going to be doing that. So I thought it was interesting just to kind of poll a few of the younger folks, what they would, be interested or not. I think it's unique. I like it. I'm just not sure how it ranks in the rest of our priorities.
Sounds like there's enough interest to at least pursue a little bit further and get some more information from maybe a couple of those communities that have put them in to, and then bring back to the group and we can discuss further.
Sure. That's good. And there's a lot of questions I can certainly try to get answered from the discussion that I think would be helpful too.
Thanks for bringing it forward. Okay, anything else on that for Ann? If not, any other business before our group? I do have one thing I'd like to, before we adjourn, would like to thank Claudio for his volunteering on the committee. We appreciate your input and your suggestions and points you bring up and being part of our group. And Brian's not here, but also would like to thank him for his service on on the committee, so thank you.
Been a pleasure. And good luck.
Any,
You'll do well.
anybody else, anything else for the good of the cause?
Do we have an update on the pickleball lights?
Nothing yet. I'm trying.
Okay.
Trying to get some information, so.
You know, as soon as that snow melts, I'll be lining up wanting to play.
Gonna be huge.
Yeah, that'll be well used, that's for sure. No, I've heard a lot of people in our neighborhood are talking about it.
Are they?
Yeah. Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Does Ann wanna do the membership,
Oh, uh-oh.
the membership report for the rec center?
Is the skate park gonna be at Lions Park?
That's the plan. I'm right now getting quotes for, the construction of the pad. Those are due, I wanna say April 11th-ish. So then it would come back to the committee for the next meeting in April.
That's turning out to be our little mini sports complex.
Yeah.
Kinda cool. I mean, with the hockey and basketball and skate park and.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's our numbers from the comparisons from 2022 and 2023. Obviously, we're continuing to climb with numbers, so just wanted to provide that this month again as well.
Okay.
Good. Looking good.
I would make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, motion's been made to adjourn. Is there a second?
A second.
Second, we're adjourned.